to another edition of The Outlet, Quarantine Edition, brought to you by Zoom. Our sponsors, even though they don't know that they're our sponsors, they are. Because I could not be bringing you these podcasts otherwise. I'm locked out of the studio and unable to record there. So we're using Zoom right now to reach our teenagers to be able to tell their stories. And we're focused really on telling the stories of quarantined youth. Today we have a senior at Elkton High School. Her name is Faith. And not only is she a senior at Elkton High School, but she's also has a huge interest in the healthcare industry. And her mother actually works in the healthcare industry. And so we have both of them join us today to talk a little about what this experience has been like for them as they adapt to what many school districts are calling the new normal. Faith, how are you doing today? And Amy, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Doing well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I appreciate it. What I want to know first and foremost is how are you guys holding up without the routine of school? And I think that, Faith, I want to hear from you, but I also want to hear from your mother because I haven't really been able to talk to any parents about how this changes routines for parents.
So school, I go off of a schedule, so it helps me to be able to do my work. And it's honestly been hard because I'm a visual learner, so I need to see things, to be able to understand them. So that's one thing that I have been struggling with school and not being able to do it.
Are your teachers putting assignments online and then you just kind of have to be able to do it? Or are you not being graded at this point? How's that working out?
Well, they put stuff online, and I believe it's a pass or fail is how they're grading it. So that's that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of students that I've talked to are concerned because they're not getting the support that they were getting when they were in the classroom. Is that kind of what you're getting at, that it's tougher without having the day-to-day, face-to-face interactions with teachers?
Yes, a lot. Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know I miss my students. I've been doing Zoom sessions twice a day, trying to connect with as many of them as possible, but it's just not the same as being there in the classroom. Mom, Amy, so how is adapting to this new reality for you going with, having no school to routines, whatever it is that would normally be going on at this part of your life?
So after the first week, we realized that we still need to have a routine. So we actually put our own schedule together just so she has a time that she needs to get up and things for her to do so that she keeps mentally and physically busy.
What does that schedule look like? Did you mind sharing?
It pretty much tells her she needs to be up by 8 o'clock in the morning, do some schoolwork for 2 hours on each subject, make sure that she gets outside at least for an hour a day to get her vitamin D, and then she actually cooks dinner once a week for us, whatever she chooses to cook, so that's also getting her to look up recipes and get ideas together. So.
And what has been the popular dish, so to speak, that you've been making, Faith? What have you been cooking for everybody?
A lot of chicken.
A lot of chicken. I like it.
I think last night she outdid herself, Greg.
Oh, what did she make?
What was your chicken?
It was honey. What was it? Honey bourbon? I don't know.
Honey bourbon coated chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn, but she did it all by herself.
Excellent. I'm sorry I didn't get an invite to that meal. That sounds delicious. That's awesome. So with your new schedule, do you find that it's tougher to fall asleep when you normally would fall asleep before school? Is your sleep habits the same?
No, my sleep habits are very bad. Because sometimes, I normally stay up at nighttime, and then I'll wind up sleeping during, before we had the schedule, I would sleep until 11, 12, and then I would go to no, that's when I would wake up. It's around 11 or 12, and then I would go to sleep 1 or 2. I would not be waking up one time, and I'll sleep sometimes during the day because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of teenagers that the sleep patterns are completely off. They're going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some are going to bed at 6:00 in the morning. And so I admire the fact that you actually were able to put a schedule together to keep some sense of normalcy during all of this. I think that's really important. Amy, you mentioned. Yep, go ahead.
A lot of the schedule was looking at her mental health, because that's something, being a mom and being in healthcare, that I worry about is the mental health of the youth, and having to deal with so much change and something they've never faced before. So I knew it was important to have Faith on a schedule so that she was keeping her mind occupied and ward off some of the worry of her getting depressed or the anxiety building up because everything's not like it was.
Yeah, I've been asking that question to every single teenager that I've interviewed, and so I'll ask that to you as well, Faith. Have you noticed from your friends that you've been talking to that people are dialed in to support you and your friends with mental health as they've been out of school? Because I know in school, teachers can check in, guidance counselors, but there's millions of students right now that are without the resources they would normally have daily. How has that been? Have you had conversations with your friends about that?
Well, a lot of I haven't really been talking to a lot of people that I normally talk to. I guess because we're not in school, but nothing's I don't know. There's not really that many people to talk to. Our guidance counselors only email us about the scholarships. They don't really talk, ask us how we've been or whatnot. So.
Have your friends mentioned that they've been struggling at all with anything?
Yes. A lot of them have been saying that they're also struggling with their work, and then some of them say that they're stressed and that it's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's certainly, I think, a tense time. I mean, people are worried about simply going out to get their groceries, and we've never had to worry about that before in the United States. It's always been something. You look at other countries and people wear the masks, and now if you go shopping anywhere nearby, you're going to see that. Being the fact that your family is in healthcare, what are some extra precautions that you've been taking with your mother being working at a hospital, with you being around a hospital? What do you have to do? Can you talk a little about what type of stress that provides to the home coming home each day?
Well, typically when we come home from work, as soon as we get in, and if I don't work, I will normally be the one that wipes down everything as soon as she gets home. And then if I'm at work, she'll do it. But then we'll just basically, as soon as we come in, because my mom has her shoes in a plastic bag that stays in her car so that she doesn't bring that into the house. And she also changes at work so that nothing comes home on her clothes. And then we'll just go straight up to the shower. But everything that we touch always gets wiped down so that nothing comes to my sister.
Amy, anything to add on that?
I go to the store. If I can't do grocery online, then we just don't need it.
So would you recommend that people try to shop online and then just have stuff delivered to the car as much as possible? Is that one of the best options, I guess, at this point?
That is one of the best options, not because it just keeps me safe, but it keeps all the other people that I would be around safe. No matter where you work, I feel not just for frontline healthcare people, but the people that work at the Walmart or the Acme and ShopRite, because they're exposed to it without proper PPE. And I want to try to avoid giving anything to anybody or getting anything.
Sure. How is Faith? What do you want to do as a career? What was your career goals?
So I wanted to I just completed my CNA class, so I'm a CNA now, and I want to work in maternity, most likely. So I want to go to nursing school. So I'm probably going to go to Cecil for now, but that's where I want to go.
Okay, how is this whole situation? Has it changed your view of the career that you want to go into? How have you thought differently between now and just 2 months ago about what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Honestly, it has changed my views, but in a more positive way, because I see a lot more people getting affected, and it makes me upset because people aren't taking the right precautions to stop the flow of it. So it makes me want to help the others that shouldn't have got it because of other people's actions. So it makes me want to help more people.
That's awesome. Amy, how has it changed for you? Have you noticed something different in the healthcare industry?
It's funny that you say that. I actually did an interview last night on a CNA's perspective of COVID-19, and it hasn't really changed my perspective of healthcare. It's still, the nurses and the doctors will always be front and foremost, and I will always be in the background. So that gets disheartening, and I worry that it scares the youth, like my daughter, away from becoming a nursing assistant. But I think that we've all been able to come together in unity and support each other, whether it's in a hospital. I know nursing homes are a lot different because they're not getting the same support as what hospitals are getting.
Yeah, it's I have a friend that actually he works in a facility here in Newcastle County, Delaware, and they had an outbreak, and he got sick, and then his entire family got sick. He's fortunate he quarantined and he's doing okay, but he's in that type of healthcare facility where he was told, well, it's not aerosol nearby, so you don't need an N95 mask, and it ended up most of the people he worked with got sick. So it's certainly definitely a concern, I think, when you look at how the industry might have to change in order to protect the most vulnerable people and the people that work with them. Faith, that's awesome to hear about the CNA. That's a really great accomplishment, and to go on Cecil County to continue on. I'm curious, graduation, it's likely not going to look exactly the way you expected to look, and after all this hard work to get to where you're at. How do you feel about graduation at this point?
It's honestly sad because that's one thing I was looking forward to, because I have had a struggle in school my whole life. So like middle school has been really hard for me, and to go to high school and then for everything to change in a positive way, it kind of sucks that I won't be able to be with all my friends and walk as like a whole class.
Have they talked to you at all about what they plan on doing, about how they plan on handling it?
Well, we were told to give them suggestions on things that we could do instead of, in case we weren't able to walk, but they haven't really gave us any like feedback on our feedback.
Have you heard any suggestions? What are some of the things the teenagers have recommended?
Some of them was, one was a car, what was it called?
A drive-through.
Yeah.
So almost like a parade that they would assemble in their cars and still be able to get their diploma.
And there was one other, but I don't remember it. Basically, our class president has been asking us different ideas, but I don't remember all of them. But yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I was just curious what's been going on. How about prom? So, everybody looks forward to prom. It's a rite of passage and everything. Your prom, what day was your prom supposed to be?
May 8th.
May 8th? And so not the prime, but just curious, had you already had a date for prom?
No, but you already had your dress.
But I already had my dress.
Oh, but you had your dress.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm seeing a lot right now that there could be virtual proms. Matter of fact, I believe May 9th is supposed to be a virtual prom where they're getting DJs from all over the country, some of the best DJs around, to host proms that people can attend and then win prizes online. Has your school looked into what they plan on doing for prom? Are they going to try to do something like that, or is it just lost?
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything about our prom. They just said that it was canceled. That's all that they were talking about. I wish they would do that because that's smart.
I wish she would let me do a prom in the basement. She won't let me decorate it so she could dance there.
That'd be great. You could actually get like your computer screen in like a Zoom call and have everybody dancing and then synchronize your music. That'd be great. That'd be really good. So with prom possibly being canceled and being a wash, how do you feel that this is going to affect relationships? Do you think that quarantine is going to ruin relationships for kids? Do you think it's going to strengthen relationships? Have you talked to your friends about that? And you don't have to make it personal. I'm just curious, how people are coping with everything.
Are you talking about friendships or like?
Relationships.
I'm talking about like boyfriend, girlfriend,
I
girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, how's that all working out?
I think some of their relationships are going to be affected because, I mean, I only see people together in school. I haven't really seen anybody on Snapchat. I don't know. Some people are going to want to see their significant other, and they're not going to be able to. So I feel like that's going to make it a lot harder because of trust and stuff like that. But, yeah.
I don't know. Like, from a trust standpoint, it's like, who are you
They're
cheating
not
on them with? They're stuck in their house too, right? And if not, then that's a bigger trust issue. Wondering what they're doing leaving.
I think it's actually interesting because I think that whether they're in a relationship or they're friends, they're getting back to the 80s and the 90s where they're actually having to communicate.
Yeah.
So I think they don't see it now, but they will see how much it's strengthened, if nothing else, their friendships.
Yeah, I've been thinking that the this whole Zoom thing and this whole connection, while it is certainly a different adaptation of learning and communication, it's forcing people to truly look at one another. I've noticed that, when I'm in sessions that you don't have people on their cell phone constantly, that there's communication, there's things happening. And so I think that there's some positives that can definitely come out of this. And that's actually one of my questions. So Faith, what is a positive that you've discovered out of quarantine?
To spend more time with my family, because I normally would want to stay in my room, but like I get upset now that my mom has to go to work because I like hang out with her and spend time with her, just like my sister. I don't like being just left in the house as like I used to.
And Amy, how about you too? I haven't had a chance to ask an adult this. What have you learned that you've really find as a positive that you would never have guessed out of this?
That my children really do know how to cook.
Well, they had to learn it from somewhere, right?
True, but they've been hiding their abilities to do things all this time.
Well, I'm glad that it took a national pandemic to get your children into the kitchen to cook for you. That's certainly helpful. So if, communication, family time and everything, when they're not around, Faith, how are you spending your free time? What are you doing? I spoke with somebody the other day. He said, I spend hours on TikTok laughing at videos and making them with friends. What are you doing?
I'm on my phone on social media, on YouTube, TikTok, yes, Snapchat.
So what is it about TikTok? Now, I'm familiar with TikTok, but for the listeners that are tuning in on the podcast that may not be watching this, what is it about TikTok that allows a teenager to escape for an hour in the videos? What is it that you like about that?
That people are themselves. It's like a funny app. Like, people can be funny on there, and they do little skits. It's just something that's very interesting that I guess that anybody should look at. Now,
have you and your family made a TikTok video during the quarantine time?
No. She doesn't want to.
Would you want her to if and it's more that she doesn't want to?
Yeah, I want her to.
Yeah, I had students ask me to make TikTok videos with them before the whole quarantine, and I've been seeing videos of families that are doing TikTok videos together. So I was just curious if that's good. Amy, what would it take for you to do a TikTok video?
I can't say on air. A whole lot of drinking.
I got you. That makes sense. So what type of hours are you working, Amy, with the hospital? Has your schedule been changed with the pandemic?
Really, it hasn't. I'm still working 12-hour shifts, 3 to 4 days a week.
And Faith, how about yourself? What's now that you're not in school, have you been able to pick up hours? What's your working day like?
Her mother won't let her pick up hours.
And honestly, too, on top of that, it's very slow and dietary. Like, it's very slow there. So as much as people want to pick up, there's, like, no point in picking up because there's no, like, action. Nobody's really there to order or make stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's taken a pandemic to get people to stop running the hospitals for the sniffles. Now people that really need the emergency help are the ones that are showing up. So I guess that's maybe a positive that's coming out of all this.
Yeah.
What have you been doing to support your senior class? I had heard that you were kind of journaling and doing some things.
Yeah, I've been writing posts just about my daily life and how the virus has impacted my life, and about updates about what's going on and stuff like that.
And has the people that follow you, have they responded to it? Have you found that helps support one another?
People like them, and I've got comments about it, and then people are like, they were shocked about the fact that some of the things have been happening. So I feel like that's have impacted them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime that you can put a message out, if somebody's even liking it, they don't have to comment, but the world's got enough darkness in it that if you can shine just a little bit of light and journal and put little thoughts, that if one person connects, that's really all that matters. It's a little bit of light lights up a lot of darkness. So that's always a positive. So I noticed you got some animals running around in the background during the video. Who are our friends that have joined us for the podcast?
Mariah's right here. She's laying down, and then Ethan is our cat. He's sitting in the hallway, but they like to chase each other.
All right. And they have no idea there's a quarantine. They're enjoying life, right?
Yeah.
I guess, that's one thing. If you have a dog, was your dog home alone and the cat's home alone a lot and they get more attention now?
I feel like she loves the attention she gets now. She gets a lot more attention now that we're all there. So I think she thinks something is up, basically.
The dogs, I think, are the big winners in all this, and the cats. Well, maybe the dogs. Cats can do without us. Cats are very self-sufficient. But the dogs definitely are very happy with all the human interaction. When I wrap up an Outlet episode every time, I ask the same exact question. It kind of puts somebody on the spot a little bit, but I don't want you to panic on it. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. The question's simple. It's, if you had to give any piece of wisdom that you've learned over your life, any motivational piece, whatever it may be, that's just knowledge that you would want to share with the world. Maybe something that your mother said to you at some point when you were younger. What is that one motto that you take with you? It's kind of like what you put in the back of your senior yearbook and you write as your quote. What would you like to share with people?
Two things, I guess. One would be keep on being myself and to share my love with other people. And then another would be to never give up and to keep on going, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel, basically.
Amy, is there anything that you want to add?
My biggest thing through this whole entire pandemic is, be safe, stay smart, stay blessed, and most of all, look after your mental health and the mental health of somebody next to you.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing too, especially I feel the weight here of having a podcast that reaches lots of teenagers and their families, just as a family unit, to just check in with one another. Mental health is not something that's just a teenager issue. It's something that affects us adults, our parents. It's a global issue, and it's a global crisis in many ways too. Mental health is one of those areas that we could never have enough resources, especially during this time. So I appreciate you reminding the listeners of that as well. If you'd like to support the Outlet, we are on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/The Outlet Podcast. If you particularly enjoyed this episode while you were listening today, you can put in the subject line of your donation for your donation to go directly to Faith. So the Outlet Podcast, and if you would like your donation to go to supporting Faith directly for her education, sounds like she's going off to Cecil County to continue her nursing. She could certainly use your support, because anybody going off to college needs financial support. So just leave that in the notes, and we will make sure that your donation goes up 100% directly to her. If you'd like just to support the show, we have monthly sponsorships, as well as we have rewards that we give out in exclusive content. So we really appreciate that. Faith, I want to thank you, and Amy, for being part of the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I am Greg Bolden. It's been a pleasure to bring you another episode of the Outlet Quarantine Edition, and look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Stay safe, social distance, and be well to one another. Check in. Take care.